Friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. This is a little weekly series that I do here on my YouTube channel where I share a free tutorial for a paper crafting project. This year we're following a little series where the first week of the month I do the tag of the month, followed by the banner of the month, the birthday card of the month, and the flower of the month. And if we have a week with 5 weeks in it, we do a wild card Wednesday project, which is what today is. And since our theme this month is Christmas in July, I've created a really sweet little home decor piece doing something totally new. I took a wooden spoon that I picked up at a yard sale and I painted it and crackled it using hairspray. I'm going to teach you how to do that. It's really cool. And then dressed it all up with the dangle charms, some pretty flowers, some jingle bells, and this will hang from a hook in your kitchen. You can use a clothespin, whatever, but look at the sweet little vignette that I built down at the bottom with these deer, some berries, star anise, a sisal tree, peppercorns, Spanish moss. It's just super festive and holiday ready and a great gift and a great thing to display. So if you'd like to learn how to make this, I'm going to show you in a minute. We are using very little paper this time. I use the Ciao Bella Christmas Vibes collection. This is one of my top 3 all-time favorite Christmas collections. It's absolutely stunning. This time we only use the A4 pad, and I only use 2 little tags from the very back page of the collection, but you can see why I love it. It's just vintage and warm and nostalgic and beautiful. So if you'd like to learn how to create this little home decor project for Christmas using hairspray and chalk paint, hang around. The tutorial's coming up now.
O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring.
All right, friends, let's get started. And if this project works as good in real life as it does in my head, I think we're all going to be really happy. I have some black chalk paint. I just picked this up at the craft store. And this spoon I picked up at a yard sale. And I'm just going to begin by putting a layer of black chalk paint. And I'm not going thick. I just want coverage. I kind of want some of the wood grain to show through. I think I paid, like $1 or something for this. It's an odd shape, so it doesn't really work all that great in the kitchen, but I think it's going to suit our purposes quite nicely. And I'm just going to finish this off. You notice I'm not doing like huge gobs of paint, and I'm doing nice smooth strokes just to get basic coverage. And I have a 12 by 12 paper cellophane wrapper on my work surface because the less mess I have to clean up, the happier I am with a project like this. So there we go. That's our first step. And we're just gonna let this dry. I'm gonna use my heat tool. I won't subject you to that. I'm gonna use my heat tool and dry this. The reason you want the dark on the bottom is that when you make the crackle, you want those dark colors popping through. It gives it a really neat vintage look. So let me wash my hands and clean up, and I'll be back. We'll do the next step. So my black paint is dry. I've brought in a little bit of candied apple, and we're just going to put like some, you know how if you buy a really chippy old dresser or something, you can see the layers of paint. So I've just put a tiny bit of this down, and we're not going to completely cover. You'll also notice I'm using sponge brushes. That's because I don't wish to clean all these strong colors out of my sink. So I'm just going to randomly, I'm not going for complete coverage here. I just want streaks. And the back doesn't really matter that much, but you know, if we hang this, those parts might show, so. All right. And I know that doesn't look great right now, but you got to hang with me. I'm going to dry this with my heat gun, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next step.
What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle along.
All right, now that our spoon is dry, we're going to put down the medium that's going to make it crackle. And I'm using Aleene's tacky glue. You can use Elmer's school glue. Pretty much any white liquid glue is going to work here. That is my understanding anyway, but I know Aleene's works. And I have about a tablespoon of the glue in my little plastic cup and 2 tablespoons of water. So you want a 2-to-1 ratio. And I'm just going to mix this together with my sponge brush. And if it looks too thin, we can add a little more glue. My bottle's getting pretty empty. I didn't measure, I just kind of eyeballed it. So what I'll do is I'll just shake this up. There we go. Yeah. That's better, I think. All right. So now I'm just going to start at the base with my glue. And I'm going to make long, smooth strokes like this. And I'm going to try not to do too much back and forthing with this. You want to kind of just put this down in a simple application. And then I'm going to go around my rim. And I'm going to go inside the bowl. I'm going to flip this over, do the back of the bowl. And you want this to dry to the point that it's kind of tacky to the touch, not completely dry. And I'm going to put my glue solution back in this little bottle because if I seal it up, I can use it the next time I want to do a crackle project. My high-tech little cup is from the inside, true confessions here, of a Trader Joe's cinnamon roll container. It's such a great size, and I use it all the time for glue and paint, and it washes out nicely, and it does a great job. So this is not like some sort of high-tech expensive equipment here. This is mostly kitchen crafting, all right? So I'm gonna just leave this. I'm gonna go wash out I'm gonna throw my brush away because I don't care to get all that glue down my sink, and I'll be back and we'll do the next step. All right, so now our spoon is mostly dry, but still a little bit tacky to the touch. And I'm gonna bring in, this is a chalk paint. This color is called, I think it's called Whisper or something like that. So it's a real creamy ivory color. And I'm gonna put this down on my sheet, and I'm gonna just hit it with a little bit of water because it's a little bit thick for what I want to do here. There we go. See how it's just like it's a little more spreadable now. And we're going to start again with our handle, and we're going to put this paint down. And you can go for full coverage or partial coverage. I want to leave some areas where the black and red come through. The science behind this is that the glue does not allow the paint layers to bond well. So it crackles. All right, I want to put a little bit more of this down. I want those paint lines a little smoother. It's hard because you can see my paint's getting really gloppy, but I just hit it with water. All right. That's better. And you can feel the drag when you're applying this layer of paint. All right, so now comes the hard part. Now you just have to wait for it to dry. You can dry it with your heat gun, but if you do, your cracks are not going to be as big. So you can set it outside in the sun, and that will help it dry faster. In fact, I might do that. It's a fairly warm day here and not too humid. Trying to touch up these little areas. But as it dries, if we did this right, it should crackle and we should get a really neat finish on this. So now we just have to be patient.
Fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all.
While we're waiting for that to dry, I've brought in some of these little Tim Holtz deer. I've got a whole handful of them. And I'm going to show you my lazy way to color these. I've got a Ziploc bag, and I'm using Adirondack alcohol ink. This is Pebble. I'm just going to put a bunch of that down in there. And this is Ginger. And I like to use quite a bit of this as well. All right. And then I'm just going to put a few drops of this butterscotch color in there. And if you don't have alcohol inks, you could probably do this same thing with like, you could probably paint them. But this is the quick way. And then I just kind of squish them all around in this mixture. I think I need some more ginger in there, maybe some more Pebble. I'm going to put some more ginger in there. So I did quite a few. The reason I did a bunch, we're not going to use all of these this time, but I like to have them on hand for Christmas, so I put a bunch more ginger in there. There we go. Now we're getting, see how we're getting the color that we want to have. I'm just going to let those be in there. The nice thing about alcohol ink is that it will work on plastic like this, whereas sometimes acrylic paint or inks, they don't work as well. So I'm just going to let those sit in that little stew for a little bit, take on some color. I want to spread them out so that they're not on top of one another. There we go. But you can see it keeps my hands clean this way. And alcohol ink can be hard to clean off. Hand sanitizer works pretty good, but you know, it gets under your nails and then your nails are all gnarly. So when I'm happy with the way this looks, see, I just keep pressing the color in. Get this guy back down in the soup here. When I'm happy, what I'll do is I'll cut the bag open, and I've got a sheet here, and I've got tweezers, old tweezers, and then I'll set these out to dry. You don't want to heat dry these because alcohol ink is flammable, and that could ruin your day. So that's another step in this process, and we're just going to let these get in there and get happy. So here they are, and if you want to, you can come in with a little, you can scoop up some of the ink from your plastic bag and just kind of tap over any blank areas. But I like that it's not perfect, because if you've ever seen, I grew up in Vermont, if you've ever seen deer, they do have like lighter spots and darker spots. You also want to make sure you do this in a well-ventilated room, because alcohol ink is stinky. So there's our little deer.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Now I want to alter this little sisal tree. I want to give it a little snowy coating. So I've got a sponge, and I'm gonna just load it up with some of my dry's clear adhesive. Woo, that's a lot. Okay. Let me just tap this off. Okay. And we're just gonna tap this over the branches. And I know it's hard to see on camera, but I'm just kind of squeezing this into the branches, mostly on the tips. And I want some on the top. Okay. All right, I'm going to bring in this chunky pearl German glitter glass from Rene Bouquets. And I'm going to sprinkle it. And I've got a piece of printer paper down there to catch the overflow. See how pretty that is? And it's not like completely covered, but I just wanted those little glistening bits of glitter glass in there. Put a little more there where it's a little heavier. And it's really pretty.
Day or two ago, thought I'd take a ride.
All right, so my crackle didn't crackle. So I went outside on the deck, and I sprayed the front of the spoon with hairspray, and we're going to try this again. And if this doesn't work, we'll just paint it. I'm using a white chalk paint over this. And I'm hoping this time we'll get the desired effect. All right. Once this dries, I'll flip it over and I'll do the back side so that we match. All right, friends, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it did crackle with the hairspray. And it probably would have crackled more, except I have the patience of a 3-year-old, so I heat dried it. This is some Glimmer Mist. It's called Sterling. And I'm going to put this over this. It's almost gone. I'm going to take a paper towel, and it's just going to go into those cracks, and it's going to emphasize them a little bit. So now we look like this. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Get a little more of the sterling on my handle. I'm just going to let it run down and fill in those cracks. And then I'm just going to wipe it down. So see, that knocked back the stark white a little bit, and it emphasized the cracks a little bit better. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to clean up this mess, and now we can begin decorating this spoon, which is the fun part. So I want my spoon to hang like this. This will be the top where the ribbon and the dangle and all that is. And this is where we're going to build our little scene. So I've got this Deco Art Snow Tex, and I'm just going to come in with my spatula. And I'm going to build this up along the bottom of my spoon like it's a snowbank. I'm going to take a little bit and go along the top edges. While this is wet, I'm going to bring in this angel dust and just sprinkle it over like that. And actually some in the bowl of the spoon is not a bad thing either. I don't know if it'll stay there or not, but we hope that it will. This stuff tends to stay pretty much everywhere. I've got my Tree Lot tree. I'm going to put adhesive on the back side. Well, if my glue gun will cooperate with me, I'm going to put adhesive on the back side. There we go. And I want to glue this right down in like that. Maybe turn it so those pretty icy crystals show a little bit more. Oops. Okay. Get more hot glue down in there. All right. There we go. I've got a little bit of Spanish moss that I want to put along the base, just so it looks kind of organic, like it's in the woods. There we go. That looks sweet. I've got my little deer, and I'm going to put some hot glue on his feet and stick him into the Spanish moss like that. All right, looking good. I've got some dry as clear adhesive, and I'm going to put this around like this. And I've got this shaved ice. This is a Stampendous product. I'm not sure you can even get this anymore. But put some of that in there. And maybe some in the background too. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty. And then I'm going to come in with some of my peppercorns that I love. Sprinkle those in. So you can see I added a small deer here in front of the large deer, and I've got this piece of star anise that I'm going to hot glue right here. And I'm still handling this with a little bit of care because our Snow Tex is not completely dried, but I think that's going to stay there. Let me get underneath it on this side. There, that feels more secure. And then I have these little red berries. I feel like we need a little pop of color. down in there. So I'm just going to tuck these right here. And that creates our little vignette in the bottom of our spoon. And I don't know about you, but I am liking that a whole bunch. So now I want to work on the topper and some charms. Give me a few minutes and I'll be right back.
Was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lame. Misfortune saved his lot.
All right, friends, I'm going to see if I can kind of finish this up. Here's our little spoon with all of our goodies added to it. I love the way this turned out, and I may come in with my scissors and cut some of these wispies off. I haven't decided if I like those or not. But you can see our Snow Tech is drying and the glitter is in there. It's real pretty. I made a couple of little tags. This is from the Ciao Bella Christmas Vibes, and I cut these out of the A4. I just backed them with some heavy cardstock, ran some twine through them and tied a bow. In Hot Graphic 45 tag albums come with those binding rings. I never use the binding rings, but I save them all. So I'm thinking this is going to be a really good way for me to suspend these tags. So first I'm going to just kind of put this through the holes here. And then I also made a dangle charm. And I'm going to put this over the top of the tags. Then I'm going to bring in my spoon that has the hole drilled in the top and lock that in place. So our dangle charms and our tags kind of hang down. And this is just a bunch of stuff I had in my stash. I had some rusty stars that had little holes in them. This sweet little deer charm, some pine cones, lots of snowflakes. I've got them all on separate jump rings, so they should ultimately shake out. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we're going to be moving this thing around. So now we look like this. So this way you can hang this with this top hook, and the tags and stuff hang from the bottom. So I've got this ribbon. I folded it in half. I'm going to run it through and pull the legs. And now I'm going to come in. I've got some sort of natural elements I want to add to this. This works in my head. This is one of those that works in my head. I've got these little birdie crafts poinsettias left over from last year. And the first thing I want to do is put some hot glue down here and put this pine branch in it. Then I'm going to take my poinsettia and do it over the top of that. It's easier to work with this off the spoon than on the spoon, and I'm going to tuck this bow in right here. I'll take this bow, all right, friends, this was a bit of a poser for me, but I think I finally finished it out, figured it out. I've taken this, it's about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter O-ring, and I put it through the top. And here's our topper with the tags and the dangle charm. And I'm going to put hot glue. This is the only way I could figure out to do this. I'm going to put hot glue here, and then I'm going to take our topper and I'm going to press it right into that hot glue. So now our tags and our dangle can hang down all pretty, and our little vignette is at the bottom. And once this sets up, the spoon will hang from the ring. In fact, we can even take the smaller ring if we want to and put it through here so that it will hang prettily. But see, there we go. There we go. And I'm going to trim, I think, the ribbon tails. They're a little longer than what I really want them to be. So I'm just going to come in. I wasn't really sure. You know how sometimes you see something in your head and then you try to bring it to life and you realize it's a little bit different than what you imagined. But overall, I think this is a really fun Christmas home decor piece. It'd be really cute. I have this little vintage hutch in my kitchen. It'd be really cute hanging from that. I usually have cups hanging from it. But see, now this will hang nicely from wherever you want to suspend it. And our cute little vignette in the bottom turned out great. All right, friends, that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. I hope you enjoyed this Wild Card Wonderful Wednesday. Thanks for hanging in with me. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to figure these things out, especially when you've never done it before. But I like the way it turned out. I think it's a really fun Christmas home decor piece. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share so we can share the wealth with all of our friends. And I'll be back next week with our tag of the month for August. I'm not sure what our theme is going to be. I'm torn between beach and sunflowers. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And thanks for joining me. Go get your craft done. Bye.
And we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle